They found her backpack in the trash. From a child who was supposed to be at school, her mom's boyfriend said he dropped her off, but he wasn't telling the truth. And when police looked closer at his phone, they found something that changed everything. On a bright February morning in suburban Orlando, 13-year-old Madeline Soto climbed into a car with her mother's boyfriend, Stephan Sterns. The plan was simple: a quick stop for McDonald's, then a short drive to school. She carried her backpack, wore her favorite green hoodie and white Crocs, and looked forward to another ordinary day. But the McDonald's stop never happened. Madeline changed her mind, Stephan later claimed, so he drove her to the usual drop-off point half a block from campus. He watched her rifle through her bag, then drive away. Hours passed. When Jennifer Soto went to pick up her daughter that afternoon, the school building emptied, but Madeline never walked out. A recorded phone call at 6 p.m. delivered the first official alert. Madeline had been absent all day. The clock had already lost its most critical hours. Jennifer Soto immediately called 911, her voice trembling with disbelief. She told the dispatcher her daughter was missing, that she had been dropped off near school but never arrived. The dispatcher logged the information, but the response was agonizingly slow. The family called again and again, their panic rising with each unanswered minute. They were told police were busy, that the calls were pending, that a 13-year-old often fell into a low-priority category, assumed to be a runaway. 3 hours bled away before a deputy finally appeared at the door. For the family, those hours felt like days. They replayed every conversation, every glance, every small detail from that morning, searching for a clue they might have missed. But the delay was already a failure they could not undo, a gap in time where hope began to fray into dread. When law enforcement finally arrived, they found Jennifer Soto physically unraveling. She rocked from side to side, her eyelids pulled so wide that the whites showed completely around her irises, a textbook sign of acute fear. Her voice cracked as she described her daughter's clothing, her habits, her sweet nature. But standing just behind her, arms crossed and body unnervingly still, was Stephan Sterns. He showed no urge to comfort Jennifer, no tremor in his voice, no tear in his eye. He interjected occasionally, correcting her phrasing, offering clipped answers. When asked about Madeline's phone, he said she had left it behind, using the word conveniently, a choice that struck investigators as odd. His affect was frozen, relaxed, disconnected from the chaos around him. The deputies took note of that distance immediately. The initial search focused on the half-block stretch where Stephan claimed to have dropped Madeline off. Detectives canvassed nearby businesses and churches, hoping for surveillance footage. One blurry recording from a church property showed a small figure sitting on a bench for about 10 minutes, then walking away alone. No car approached her. No one picked her up. The family clung to this image, insisting Madeline must have run away, perhaps to a friend's house, but no friend came forward. No one reported seeing her after that brief, indistinct glimpse. The footage was too grainy to confirm her identity, and it led nowhere. Investigators expanded their search, bringing in K9 units and officers on foot, but the dog tracked no scent because she had never stepped onto school grounds. The trail was cold before it ever warmed. Formal interviews began, with Jennifer and Stephan separated so detectives could compare their accounts. Jennifer spoke of a birthday party that weekend, of Madeline's happiness, of a normal family routine, but the sleeping arrangements drew sharp scrutiny. Jennifer admitted that all three often shared one bed, and that Stephan, despite moving out months earlier, still slept over and requested cuddle time with Madeline. The child's own bedroom had no door, just a curtain in a common area. Detectives recognized this as a dangerous dynamic, one that groomers exploit. When asked about that morning, Stephan's story wobbled. He shifted from, "we dropped her off," to, "I dropped her off." He claimed exhaustion, a foggy memory, a flat tire that made him late. Each answer raised more questions than it resolved. The breakthrough came from an unexpected place, the apartment dumpster. Surveillance footage showed Stephan tossing a black trash bag into the bin on the morning Madeline vanished. When detectives retrieved that bag, they found her backpack intact inside. Stephan had told them she carried it to school. Now they knew that was a lie. Confronted, he stammered, claimed he didn't remember, offered vague excuses. The flat tire he mentioned became significant when a witness recalled seeing a man matching Stephan's description, changing a tire on a remote St. Cloud road. That witness later called the sheriff's tip line, directing searchers to an area far from any school. Stephan had inadvertently left a breadcrumb trail, and each step of it pointed away from the story he had so carefully constructed. Detectives seized Stephan's phone, only to discover he had performed a factory reset the day after Madeline's disappearance. He called it an accident, but forensic experts recovered nearly everything he had tried to erase. What they found was devastating. More than 35,000 images and videos stored on his phone and external hard drives. Many depicted Madeline Soto, abused over a period of at least 3.5 years, beginning when she was just 8 years old. Other images involved Jennifer's roommate, revealing a pattern of predatory behavior that extended beyond one victim. The collection was meticulous, organized, and deeply disturbing. Stephan had been living a double life, presenting himself as a caring boyfriend while systematically violating the child entrusted to his care. The digital evidence destroyed any remaining doubt about his character and his guilt. Surveillance footage from the apartment complex and a nearby parking garage filled in the final, gruesome timeline. Cameras captured Stephan returning home that morning, with Madeline slumped, unmoving, in his front passenger seat. He then drove into the garage, where every angle recorded him, lifting her lifeless body and placing it into the trunk. He moved without haste, without panic, as though he were performing a routine chore. Later that day, he disposed of her belongings and went about his errands, even visiting a game shop. When he got the flat tire, he stopped on a rural road, changed it, and continued driving. He never called for help. He never alerted anyone that the child in his car had stopped breathing. The cameras, impartial and relentless, showed exactly what he had done and when he had done it. A month after Madeline vanished, searchers followed the witness's tip to that rural St. Cloud road. Behind hay bales and overgrown brush, tucked beside a wooden fence, they found her remains. The autopsy confirmed strangulation as the cause of death. She had been discarded like refuse, miles from home, hidden where no one would casually look. Stephan was already in custody on sexual battery charges, but the discovery of her body elevated the case to first-degree murder. Prosecutors presented the evidence to a grand jury, which returned an indictment swiftly. The community, which had held vigils and distributed flyers, now faced a different kind of grief, not for a lost child who might still be alive, but for one whose fate had been sealed by the very person who claimed to care for her. Rather than face a jury, Stephan Sterns pleaded no contest to murder and guilty to all sexual abuse counts. In court, he offered a brief statement, apologizing for the pain but never explaining his actions. Victim impact statements followed, each one raw with anguish. Madeline's father spoke of hatred. Jennifer admitted she had been deceived for years. The judge imposed 21 concurrent life sentences, ensuring Stephan would never walk free. He will die behind bars, but that does not bring Madeline back. She was 13, bright, and eager to grow into a woman no one will ever meet. The system failed her with its slow response, and her home failed her with its blind trust. Her memory now stands as a quiet warning about the monsters who hide behind familiar faces.